So Peter, how does a vendor know when the agent's got the price right?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, you know, what do vendors do? They call up either one agent that they know and trust, or they've had some experience with or been told about, or they get 2 or 3 agents in and they ask the question, what's my property worth? And so the local agent that's been around in an area will say, look, you know, I've sold this, this and this, and they establish a price. And it sounds really plausible, that's what the property's going to sell for, right? But you know, that's a really shallow way or a simplistic way of looking at price. Price is really dynamic. I remember that time where we had that old friend of ours, his mother was selling a relations property that had passed away, and it was well and truly outside our area. And remember how we went in there and she'd already spoken to half a dozen agents, and they pretty much all the agents pinpointed the price within about $10,000 of one another. It was just like this really, really close bang, 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 this is what it's worth. And then, you know, I looked at it and we looked at how can we promote the property and what buyer would get motivated to buy this property, and we actually worked out that it was worth more done a particular way, presented right and marketed a little bit differently than the local agents were planning to do it. The big agencies I'm talking about now, they're like the really big agencies they called in, you know the ones. And we ended up selling that property for $25,000 above what all the other agents were saying. Now that was a relatively inexpensive property. That was just over the $500,000 mark. And the same thing applies in more expensive properties. For example, remember the time we sold that ground floor apartment? And it had been on the market for 3 months with a local agent who had sold others in that prestige building, and you know, had supreme confidence. They knew the price, so they put it on the market at 1.295, and 3 months later not a single offer, and in fact they started to tell the owner that the price might have been more around 1.1 or 1.2. So there was this sort of stage in their marketing where the vendors started to get really down in the dumps and depressed over the price, and that's when, you know, price tends to fall. We came along and again we looked at the property and we went, well, maybe there's a better way of doing this, you know? Is there another way that we could promote the property? Could we present it better? And so we ended up putting it on the market for an offers over price, which was actually slightly below that their starting price that they were asking, 1.295. But a buyer came along within days who had actually seen it earlier with the previous agent, and actually said to me, why should I pay more now? It's on the market for more. But what I explained to that buyer was, it's now presented differently. We've got an open home coming up. We're marketing it differently. We've had really good response in the last 24 hours and it's going to sell. And so that buyer came back with an offer. They ended up paying $1.3 million. So a little bit over the original asking price that the previous agent couldn't even get an offer on after 3 months. So price is really critical to get it right, and there's ways of tweaking price, and it's more than just you looking at historical values. And the problem with a local agent, and you know, I sort of consider myself as a local agent in New Farm and Fortitude Valley, but I've sold all over Brisbane. The problem with a local agent is they get stuck in their little bubble of price. So that's the trick. Don't get stuck in that bubble of price. Look outside price for price indications, and get a different opinion on price from somebody who may not be selling, you know, as local or, you know, in that area all the time. So yeah.